Coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio, this is Talking Politics. And I am the generational talent in Garden State media because I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption, ladies and gentlemen, since my level of honesty, now more than ever, is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception. That's right. It's me, Fernando Uribe. I'm the hero you need right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate you tuning in here on the Hudson Media Group Network. And of course, listen, happy April to everybody tuning in here this week. Of course, that means that warmer weather is around the corner, day drinking, Easter, and all that good stuff. Even WrestleMania season is right around the corner. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue to enjoy the month of April. And certainly there's a lot to discuss. So let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Folks, if you've been watching this show frequently, you know that I have serious issues with Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan as it pertains to their candidacy as assembly candidates for the 32nd Legislative District here in Hudson County. Now, never mind the fact that Ravi Bala has been the insufferable virtue signaler and woke fool leading the city of Hoboken since January of 2018. So whether it's having a, declaration of making Hoboken a sanctuary city or worrying more about pronouns than, for example, let's say public safety in Hoboken. So, people aren't being assaulted in broad daylight in public parks in Hoboken. Or, maybe hiring more police officers since, bodies are, washing up on Sinatra Drive in Hoboken. So again, you would just think that, maybe public safety and maybe looking at reducing property taxes is a priority in Hoboken. But no, of course, it's always about pronouns. And when it comes to Katie Brennan, well, folks, let's be very honest about Katie Brennan's virtue signaling. Yes, a woman of privilege, obviously, that has been working for quite some time in both the public and private sector. So she's decided to jump back into the political arena and run as an independent in the upcoming Democrat primary coming up on June the 10th. But lately, and again, special thank you to John R. Highness, the editor-in-chief of the Hudson County View, as well as being a devoted member of the Pinnacle and a fellow Rutgers alumnus for his reporting on this very interesting story, as we're seeing the latest bitching and moaning from both Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan. Now, they went on to say that obviously it's time for Democrats to either step up to President Donald Trump or to step aside. In a statement this week, she says, quote, "Look at what Trump was just doing this past week, firing prosecutors, prosecuting thought crimes." That's not true, Katie. Like trying to prosecute, possible domestic terrorists and jihadists like Mahmoud Khalil, that's not thought crimes. Okay. I mean, there's enough footage out there that I've put out because I've been to Columbia University on the Upper West Side. I've been in the trenches, unlike some of these lazy ass journalists in New Jersey, more like propagandists that aren't doing their jobs, but I'm always doing my job. But I've been in the trenches at Columbia University, seeing firsthand what some of these reckless jihadists have been doing. And of course, there's more than enough footage to see what Mahmoud Khalil has engaged in. But I want to make this about him. I want to make this about sort of the insanity that Katie Brennan is conveying here. Right? So for, of course, talking about threatening lawyers that challenge him, that's straight out of the dictator's handbook. He keeps breaking the law in plain sight, and too many Democrats in Washington and in Trenton are acting like it's no big deal. What does Trump have to do before people in charge wake up and realize that we need to fight back? If the plan is just to wait until the midterms, it's time for Democrat leaders to step up or to step aside. Now, the duo in the last week obviously stated that Trump has openly declared that he's, quote, not joking about running for a third term, which is not possible, folks. I mean, this is just gamesmanship and it's just for clicks and views because, folks, it's, again, what's interesting and what people haven't learned about Donald Trump yet going into his second term, and ever since he came down the escalator in June of 2015, is that, again, just like a baby, when it's crying way too much, the best thing to do is to ignore it. And sooner or later, if you ignore it, it won't bother you. It seems like the left and the establishment media continue to always take the bait when it comes to clickbait like this, right? She also goes on to say, of course, despite constitutional limits, and of course, fired 2 career prosecutors without cause, including one investigating one of his donors. No, ladies and gentlemen, we're not. If we both know what prosecutors he's firing, it's a lot of the corrupt prosecutors at the former Justice Department under the Biden administration, which we've all learned, folks. This is not new. A quick Google search will answer this. But it seems like maybe Katie has never heard of Google. I don't know. Maybe somebody might want to drop her a text about it. They also expressed disappointment that federal funds were withheld from Columbia University unless they agreed to restrict students' free speech. That's not true. The endowment that Columbia University already has like a lot of Ivy League schools, they can live on their own. So the fact that, hey, maybe the federal government has, I don't know, an objection to how tax dollars are being spent, especially when you're sending it to a university like Columbia. And folks, let's be very clear about Columbia. And I'm not hating on it. I applied to Columbia when I was applying to graduate schools many years ago. I actually got accepted to Columbia after taking the GRE and because of my transcript. But very simply, I chose not to go to Columbia because A, it's out of state. And number two, again, the cost would have been insurmountable. So I ended up going to Rutgers here in New Jersey, and I think I did pretty well for myself. And also, too, folks, if you talk to any other Ivy League graduates, they'll be happy to tell you that Columbia University is basically the New York Mets of the Ivy League. When you can't get into any other Ivy League school like Harvard, Princeton, Penn, or Yale, well, the safety school is always Columbia. Folks, that's common knowledge for any, Ivy League graduate. They'll tell you that very, very convincingly, right? But of course, also talking about, for example, again, this is the retro thing that Katie and Robbie really love to live on. Of course, unless they agree to the restrict students' free speech, as well as doing the same to the University of Pennsylvania due to a transgender athlete policy. Yeah, because, God forbid we want biological girls, being able to play among themselves and play organized sports at the collegiate level. Where boys or, young men, for example, that, I don't know, I'm trying to think of one, maybe a swimmer from the University of Pennsylvania. Maybe you've heard of him, right? Because that's how I'll refer to him. He's still a him. You remember, for the first 3 years of undergrad, he was a pretty mediocre swimmer, but he decided to transition to become a woman. And in his senior year, Leah Thomas decided to win a lot of NCAA awards and break a lot of records. Does that seem fair to you? For the party that's all about women, right? Hopefully biological women, doesn't seem like you're standing up for women, right? So, can Katie and Robbie get it together? You're either about defending women or you're not. More on that later, right? So, of course, she goes on to say, quote, Trump is a bully, plain and simple. If you give him an inch, he'll take some mile. I know that New Jersey can stand up to Trump's bullying because that's exactly what we did in Hoboken. That's according to Robbie Bala. Quote, we refused to allow warrantless immigration enforcement. We enacted policies to make the city welcoming to the LGBTQ plus community. Folks, I've never heard of a bunch of people that literally have monopolized 1/3 of the alphabet, but more on that later. And we sued his friends in Big Oil for putting Hoboken in danger of climate change and induced flooding. Yes, Robbie, because you're so concerned about flooding and you've addressed flooding during your administration. See, again, folks, the lack of priorities in Hoboken is really laughable here. And it's rich coming from the woke fool himself, Ravi Bala. When we have, for example, all the rats in Hoboken, not the rats working in City Hall, specifically in his office, right? We're talking about like the actual rodents that pose a serious public health issue for kids, for seniors. But no, he'd rather, again, repaint the crosswalks rainbow colors during Pride Month than actually worry about, I don't know, sanitary conditions in the city of Hoboken. That's the lack of priorities that we see in the Mouse Square City. And again, all under Ravi Bala's leadership or lack thereof. Right? Here we go. I'm proud to have joined mayors across the country to fight cuts to Medicaid and research funding to universities. When someone threatens your very existence, you have no choice but to fight back, whether it's a playground bully, wannabe dictator, or both. Now, Brennan and Bala also called for Trump-proofing New Jersey's budget by building up the state's reserve. You want to know why there's no reserve? More on that later. Passing the Immigrant Trust Act to protect residents from ICE raids and withholding state tax dollars, dollar for dollar, in response to any illegal federal funding cuts similar to legislation proposed in New York under S6915. Well, folks, let me just give you the 411 on Katie Brennan and Robbie Bala. As a guy who owns multiple properties in Hudson County, I can tell you that my property taxes continue to increase. Now, again, here in the state of New Jersey, property taxes are at an average of over $10,000. And that's even living in municipalities, for example, where I live, where my mayor is also my state senator, and he does a really good job at trying to keep property taxes reasonable. That's certainly not the case throughout the rest of New Jersey. I can just travel a little bit up north on River Road into southern Bergen County, and we're looking at property taxes somewhere between $13,000, $14,000, even $15,000. Or I can go a little bit out west into Morris County, where property taxes are, again, almost at $20,000. Or I can travel a little bit south and go into Union County, near Short Hills, Summit, and Cranford, where properties are somewhere between $21,000 to $24,000. But somehow Katie Brennan and Robbie Bala want you to believe that somehow for the last 20 years, which Democrats have had a solid majority in the legislature, and yes, we've had Republican governors and Democrat governors, but the bottom line is, folks, we've had far left legislators in Trenton for over 20 years. So when property tax continue to increase. When the gas tax finally entered its final phase this past December the 1st, to where now we're paying 61 cents more on the gallon for the Transportation Trust Fund, right? Because that's how it's supposed to be replenished. Meanwhile, if you look at the AAA website, New Jersey is in the bottom third in the United States in terms of quality of roads. So what fund am I trusting with transportation here in New Jersey? But that's where the gas tax and its revenue has been going towards. Now, yes, since President Trump took office, gas prices have gone down. Why? We've decided to drill domestically and not rely on purchasing foreign oil. So guess what? Even at $2.89 right now, which is still lower than it was for most of Joe Biden's presidency, guess what? We're still paying 61 cents more on the gallon because of the gas tax. So this summer also, when you want to go visit your friends or your side chick or in-laws or whatever down the shore or even wherever part of New Jersey, whether you're traveling down the Turnpike or the Garden State Parkway, well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Tolls continue to increase. But that's all Donald Trump's fault, according to Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala. Because they'd rather blame Trump than look at their own party that have turned New Jersey into an absolute shithole. And that's the truth. That's not opinion on my part, folks. Those are the numbers. And sooner or later, people are going to vote with their feet and leave New Jersey. Very much like as what we're seeing with data, and we're halfway through this decade. But guess what? At the current pace, the state of California and New York are going to lose 4 House seats. Why? Because people are leaving those states. Why? Because they become unaffordable. Because Democrats have been in control for over 20 to even 25 years in those state legislatures, and they have ruined the states respectively. And that's what's happening in New Jersey. So here in New Jersey, when, again, the state budget is being under consideration, right? Because every June 30th, under state law, which is mandated by the New Jersey State Constitution, a budget has to be signed by the governor by 11:59 p.m. on June the 30th. And if it's not, guess what? At 12:01 a.m. on July the 1st, the state will shut down. Now, we lived through a couple of those in recent years. 2006 under Governor Corzine, and in 2017 under Governor Christie. Now, in fairness to Phil Murphy and the Democrats in the legislature for the last few years, they've cut it pretty close, and it's almost been right up to crunch time in late June. But folks, again, now conveniently, Democrats in Trenton, specifically Governor Phil Murphy, want to tighten their belts and want to make sure that we freeze spending. And you know what? Hey, maybe we have to shave something off the budget. When for the last 8 years, we've been spending like drunken sailors in Trenton and spending on pet projects like giving money to left-wing organizations that coddle illegals in New Jersey, like the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, or Make the Road New Jersey, or the Latino Action Network, right? All these insufferable left-wing organizations full of like unbearable feminists and the usual cat ladies. Folks, again, I can smell the cat piss through the video. Okay? I can smell it all the way to my house. But these are the organizations that get taxpayer dollars from Trenton, right? Or a legal fund to help illegals fight deportation, again, at our expense. But that's what's going on in Trenton. But never once will you hear Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala complain about that. No, they want to complain about Donald Trump. They want to complain about what's happening in Washington. Katie, Ravi, why don't you complain about what's been happening in Trenton for over 20 years, where Democrats in the legislature have had solid majorities? For example, presently in the state assembly, for seats you're running in, you two, Democrats have a majority of 52 to 28. And in the state Senate, they have a majority of 23 to 17. So those are solid majorities. So when you think about why New Jersey isn't affordable, when you think about why New Jersey is going to shit, it's not conservatives or Republicans like me that you can blame, or those legislators. They're powerless. They can't do anything. It's the Democrats in the legislature, especially the far left ones, that have ruined the state and continue to make it unaffordable. So instead of running on what you're going to do to lower property taxes in your district, potentially, Ravi and Katie, no, you'd rather bitch and moan about Donald Trump. You'd rather bitch and moan about Doge and Elon Musk. You'd rather bitch and moan about, well, you know what? We need to bankrupt Tesla. Yes, a company that employs over 100,000 Americans, but you'd rather virtue signal about the evils of Tesla, right? Don't you believe in climate change? So shouldn't you want more electric cars being built? You see what I'm saying, folks? It's the blatant hypocrisy about woke fools like Katie Brennan and Ravi Bala. And again, you want to vote for their platform and subscribe to all their woke bullshit? Be my guest. But understand, folks, these are serious times, and we have serious problems, and we need serious people to solve them. But Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan aren't even remotely serious about what they're campaigning on, because they'd rather virtue signal. They'd rather bitch and moan from the cheap seats than roll up their sleeves and offer any real policy perspectives. And let's be honest, if we're looking at least what The consensus is, or at least a blueprint, what's happened in Hoboken. Yeah, folks, since 2018, Hoboken's been it's become a shithole. And what has Katie Brennan done other than working in the city of New York and contributing to that cesspool? So what exactly are Katie Brennan and Robbie Ball going to run on? Woke principles? Pronouns? Identitarian politics? And I get it that in the 32nd Legislative District, that's the most progressive district in the state because it consists of the city of Hoboken and sections of Jersey City, which include all the Jersey City Heights and downtown Jersey City. And yes, folks, I get it. Those are all full of the social justice clowns and the woke fools and, all those, a lot of those very, all pro gentrification white people that, we're concerned about public education while they send their kids to charter schools. Oh, I'm all concerned about, labor and everything else while you continue to buy your macchiatos at Starbucks. Folks, you see what I'm getting at here? And this is the problem with candidates like Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan. They can't see the forest from the trees. And like a lot of liberals and a lot of progressives, sure, their hearts are in the right places, but guess what? Their heads are up their asses. And nobody exemplifies that better than Ravi Bala and Katie Brennan. Here's to them getting absolutely destroyed coming up on June the 10th, because these two fools should be nowhere near a legislative office, much less running for one. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now some local news for your consideration. And let's keep it here with Hudson County View. And once again, a special thank you to the editor-in-chief, John R. Highness, for his reporting on this story. Now, the Hut House Dispensary in North Bergen will have all of your cannabis needs coming up as 420 is quickly approaching. Now, obviously, North Bergen's Hut House is equipped with everyone's cannabis needs, obviously, which include delivery service, pre-rolls, gummies, and accessories available. Now, folks, again, full disclosure, I've never smoked weed. I don't care to smoke weed. I understand the premise for it. I understand the medicinal uses for it. And I understand even the recreational uses for it. It's just not something that's really, I don't know. I think when I think of vices that I've had in my adult life, it's like alcohol and women. But again, everyone's different, and that's cool. And if you need it, good for you. Again, as long as you're doing it responsibly, not endangering yourself, not getting behind the wheel, not doing anything, obviously not handling heavy machinery or whatever. But the point is that, hey, live and let live and be able to enjoy these amenities when you can. Now, as 420 approaches, Hudson County is gearing up for a celebration of cannabis culture. So whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just looking for a way to enjoy the day, there's plenty of ways to make the most of it coming up on April the 20th. From top-tier products to local food spots, again, Hudson County View does provide a very thorough guide in the best ways to enjoy the holiday coming up in Hudson County, which again features Hut House, a go-to destination for all of your 420 needs. So, for example, there is a pregame on April the 19th at the Munchie Fest. So for those looking to kick off the festivities early, the 420 Munchie Fest is happening at 419 at Hut House. The event promises next level munchies from the popular sandwichitos, a breakdance battle, that'll be interesting if you're high, a live DJ and band, giveaways, live art by Bash, and much more. Also, you can get Hut House delivered for yourself or for a friend. So maybe if you're looking to, get in good with somebody and maybe you're trying to impress that nice girl in your life that you're trying to get, try to hook up with. I don't know. Maybe, instead of sending her flowers or sending her, I don't know, via, maybe send her some money via Cash App or Zelle or Venmo. I don't know. Check out Hut House and maybe send her some goodies and maybe, help make 420 a little bit more enjoyable. Who knows? So for those who prefer to celebrate at home, Hut House offers delivery, again, making it easy to enjoy 420 without actually stepping outside. Customers can order pre-rolls, edibles, and accessories for a hassle-free experience. It's also a fun way to surprise a fellow cannabis enthusiast with a delivery because what's better than Grubhub? Well, ButtHub. Also, elevate your 420 with a premium pre-roll. Pre-rolls are, see, folks, I didn't even know this. I mean, this is how, I guess, I don't know, sheltered I am about this. But pre-rolls are a convenient option for anyone looking to celebrate without the hassle of rolling. Hut House offers a variety of high-quality pre-rolls ideal for solo relaxation or sharing with friends. Or, for example, you can grab a gummy and binge-watch your favorite TV shows. For a more low-key celebration, THC-infused gummies are a great option. Pair them with a Netflix marathon, whether it's a classic comedy or a mind-bending documentary, for a laid-back way to enjoy 420. You can also upgrade your cannabis accessories, so a great cannabis session starts with quality tools. Certainly, 420 is the perfect time to upgrade your setup with a new grinder, rolling tray, or high-quality rolling paper. See, folks, again, this makes me think of Friday back in the 90s. What a great movie that was. Just makes you think, smoking. Just makes me think of, Smokey and Craig on that porch there back in 1995. So again, I guess, if you don't want to roll or don't know how to roll, Hut House will take care of you. And of course, the most important thing is to celebrate responsibly. So no matter how you celebrate, Hut House is encouraging patrons to always consume responsibly and follow local laws. Hudson County offers plenty of ways to enjoy 420, whether you're heading out for an event, ordering in, or just unwinding at home. Again, folks, Hut House, you can check it out both on their Facebook, certainly on their Instagram as well. You can also visit Hut House at www.hudhaus.com. And again, folks, for someone like me that's never really tried weed, and maybe some people might think, well, you know what? If anyone really needs to lighten up and maybe take a toke or two, it's probably Fernando Uribe. I don't know. Maybe that day will come. Maybe it won't. But the bottom line is that, you know what? Coming up on April the 20th, it's important. Please celebrate and party responsibly. And Hut House makes that all available for you coming up on 420. Let's move south into Jersey City. And once again, a special thank you to John R. Highness, the editor of the Hudson County View, for his reporting on this very important story, as CollegeNet's Social Mobility Index ranks New Jersey City University as #1 in New Jersey, and as a matter of fact, at number 19 in the United States. Now, of course, looking at the second year in a row that NJCU has cracked the top 20 nationally. Now, according to interim president Andres Acebo in a statement this past week, NJCU's continued presence among the top-ranked institutions is a powerful affirmation of our mission-centered work and enduring impact. This recognition is a testament to the tireless efforts and values of our entire university community. It reflects our unwavering focus on driving social and economic mobility as seen in our deepening communities, as well as partnerships, along with curricular reforms that promote relevance, equity, and opportunity, along with holistic support of transfer initiatives and seamless academic pathways. The alignment of our work with our academic master plan and strategic enrollment plan and the deliberate, inclusive refresh of our institutional mission through shared governance is what we stand for. Now, NJCU has made a steady and strong improvement in the national index, particularly under President Acebo's leadership since January of 2023. Great job, Andres. The university improved from 105th place in 2021 to 44th place in 2022, and now into the top 20 nationally in both 2023 and in 2024. Now, the SMI measures the extent to which a college or university educates more economically disadvantaged students with family incomes below the national median at lower tuition and graduate them into good-paying jobs. Now, CollegeNet's SMI differs from most other rankings in that it focuses directly on the factors that enable economic mobility, rather than arbitrary or irrelevant criteria such as percentage of applicants denied. Now, the institutions that educate more economically disadvantaged people, those with family incomes below the national median, and do so the best at lower tuition so that they can graduate into good-paying jobs, will rank higher according to the SMI. Acebo also added, quote, far too often traditional measures of institutional success fail to account for the economic profile of the students served. Now, the Social Mobility Index stands in contrast by recognizing institutions like NJCU that truly move the needle for students from historically undeserved backgrounds, rewarding access, affordability, and real economic outcomes. Folks, can we say enough about Andres Acebo? Can we say enough about his outstanding leadership? And again, for leadership that was getting crucified by Mickey Mouse journalists like Ron Zentlinger, Joshua Rosario, and other clowns of the Jersey Journal. By the way, folks, good effing riddance to the Jersey Journal when we've had irresponsible journalism by them for so long. And guess what? If anyone's deserving of praise, it's Andres Acebo. Because for 10 years, what did we see with the former administration? We saw recklessness, we saw economic irresponsibility, and more importantly, folks, we just saw fiscal incompetence. But those days are over under the leadership of Andres Acebo, a guy who I've had the privilege of talking to, not just here with the Hudson Media Group, but also on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV, which you can check out live every Monday night. Folks, he's a great local guy. He's an accomplished attorney. And more importantly, he's just a wonderful human. And when we think of Andres Acebo, we think about all these great qualities, which again make him the ideal president for New Jersey City University. So once again, congratulations to NJCU, Andres, and to all of his staff. Keep up the great work. You're making us all proud. Special thank you to James De Los Santos, the editor of HUDPost, for this very important story here during the month of April. Now, the Secaucus Police Department just announced that they'll participate in a national distracted driving enforcement campaign, joining more than 10,000 law enforcement agencies across this country in the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's, quote, Put the Phone Away or Pay initiative. Now, this annual initiative unites over 10,000 law enforcement agencies across the country to foster safer driving habits, according to the Secaucus Police Department. Now, drivers are urged to keep phones out of reach and avoid texting or using social media while driving. No posts, no snap, or scrolling is worth the risk, according to the Secaucus Police Department. Tips include pulling over before sending a message, quote, using a designated texter, and enabling, quote, do not disturb features while driving. Other Hudson County Police Departments have not yet announced their participation in this year's campaign, though departments like Guttenberg have previously taken part in similarly federally backed efforts. Now, New Jersey law prohibits the use of handheld devices while driving. Now, fines can range anywhere from $200 to $800, with third-time offenders facing points and possible license suspension. According to the Secaucus Police Department, quote, our goal is simple. We want everyone to reach their destination safely. Folks, that's not a bad thing. And again, listen, we've all been guilty of driving, sometimes having our phone in our hand. But you know what? Especially during the month of April, let's make sure we're not texting, because if we are, we're going to pay up. And that's something we definitely don't need as we're recovering during this economy. So you know what? Drive safely and text safely. It's not a lot to ask. Lastly, folks, it is the month of April, and mark it on your calendars, because on Thursday night, April the 17th, at the world-famous Waterside located along the waterfront in North Bergen, New Jersey, I'll bring you the 2025 edition of Memories Matter to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. Joining me will be my incredible co-hosts, Vladimir Carrero, Lucy Costa, Carmen Kenny, Alexandra Hammer, and of course, Jacqueline Rodriguez. I gotta tell you, folks, these excellent individuals will be joining me upon arrival. And guess what? When you get there, we're asking for a modest $20 donation, where all proceeds from the evening will benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. We'll have a DJ, plenty of raffles with prizes, including spas and restaurants in the area looking to support Memories Matter and Alzheimer's New Jersey. So once again, join me, Vladimir Carrero, Alexandra Hammer, Jacqueline Rodriguez, Lucy Costa, and Carmen Kenny on Thursday night, April the 17th, at the world-famous Waterside. You can scan the QR code if you're interested in donating. And of course, folks, please bring friends. There's valet parking. And of course, there'll be wonderful networking opportunities all night long. So again, I'll see you on Thursday night, April the 17th for Memories Matter 2025 to benefit Alzheimer's New Jersey. And together, we can defeat Alzheimer's once and for all. And that's our show for this week. To check out the leader in independent media here in Hudson County, the Hudson Media Group, please subscribe to them on YouTube. Again, folks, it takes a few seconds to like, comment, and share all the great content brought to you by the Hudson Media Group. Whether it's Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe, Hudson County View Live, which you can check out every Wednesday, hosted by John R. Highness, as well as Stick at Night with Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano, and of course, all the great young men and women from North Bergen High School. Folks, I can't say enough here, as again, we enter the month of April. It'll be the 6th year of Talking Politics here with the Hudson Media Group. I'm immensely grateful to the CEO and executive producer, Patrick O'Melia, for his belief in my brand of media. And folks, again, I'll be the hero that you need every single week here in Hudson County Politics and in Hudson County Media collectively. And always remember, folks, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am the generational talent in Garden State Media. And folks, I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption, because my level of honesty, folks, now more than ever, is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception, especially, folks, with the liberal establishment media doing us a disservice every single day. But guess who isn't? Fernando Uribe. Folks, I'm the hero you need right now, and I'll continue to lead us in this crusade for truth every single week in media and, of course, in everything we're discussing here with the Hudson Media Group. We'll see you next week, folks, here again. Thanks for stopping by. And always remember, stay classy, everyone.